listeners. Welcome to PwC Nigeria's quarterly energy podcast called Let's Talk Energy, where we discuss energy topics across the globe. My name is Pedro Omontuemhen, partner and Africa oil and gas leader, PwC. I have over 30 years of experience providing professional services to companies in the oil and gas industry. These services have granted me an in-depth understanding of the myriad of issues plaguing Nigeria's energy sector. Our topic today is an interesting one, and it is subsidy removal. Is there a silver lining? The Nigerian government justifies fuel subsidies as a means to ensure the affordability of petroleum products for its citizens, especially those in the lower income brackets. Subsidies were also seen as a mechanism to support economic growth, maintain social stability, and stimulate development by reducing the cost of transportation of goods and services. However, over time, fuel subsidies became a substantial financial burden on the Nigerian government. Fuel subsidies came to an abrupt end on May 29, 2023, when the newly elected President Tinubu, declared in his inaugural speech there will be no longer a petroleum subsidy regime as it was not sustainable. Since President Tinubu's subsidy removal, cost of living has inevitably increased across board and inflicted strain on the wider population. Though there were several social schemes to reduce the economic impact of the subsidy removal at federal and state levels of government, most Nigerians do not see this as addressing the larger issues. And the question on everyone's mind is there a silver lining somewhere? To discuss these very important issues, I have here with me in the studio Dr. Gabriel Ogbechie, the founder and group managing director of Rainoil Limited. Our esteemed guest here has almost 3 decades of experience working in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. He founded Rainoil Limited in 1997, and under his guidance and leadership, the company has grown from very modest beginnings to having operations across all the sectors in the value chain. Dr. Gabriel Ogbechie is also involved in many philanthropic causes through the Gabriel Ogbechie's Foundation in Delta State and the Rainoil Community Empowerment Program. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Ogbechie to the studio. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Pedro.
Okay, so thanks so much for coming. So let's go down to the issues and discuss a few of the questions. So can you give us a general overview of the fuel subsidy and its impact on the economy, sir?
Okay, again, thanks for this. I heard your argument. Nigeria being one of the major oil producing countries in the world, I understood exactly where government is coming from by over the years making fuel to be affordable by deciding to introduce some form of subsidy in petroleum products. But let's be clear here, petroleum product is not the only product in the country that has been subsidized. I mean, we enjoy subsidy on a lot of other aspects of the economy, but we've enjoyed subsidy on petroleum products for a very long time. I mean, like you said, I've been in this industry now for 31 years.
Wow.
And for exactly those 31 years, we've had subsidy. It's been a recurring issue.
Yes.
But it got to a point where we needed to ask ourselves the very hard questions. Is it still sustainable? Can we continue to subsidize petroleum products?
Yes.
We know too well that at least as at May 2023, Nigeria was spending more than 90% of their income just to service debt. I mean, just to pay the interest on debt, not to touch the
principal.
Principal.
Yes.
Okay. On top of that, if you look at, we're spending an average of 4 to 5 trillion naira subsidizing one product alone called petrol. And that 4 or 5 trillion naira is more than what we spend in the whole year on at least 3 critical parts of the economy: education, health, infrastructure.
Wow.
So it was no longer sustainable. So for us, subsidy or subsidy removal became an existential issue. We now have to save the country, because the country has to survive first before you begin to say that you're giving people subsidy. So subsidy had to go. For the country to survive, subsidy had to go. So I completely agree with Mr. President when he said subsidy is gone. I mean, he didn't say subsidy is going. He didn't say no, he screamed. Subsidy is gone.
Yes.
I tell you, he was trying to, let's save this country first. Now, having saved the country, the truth is, a country country that has struggled to pay 30,000 naira as minimum wage. 30,000 naira today can barely buy maybe 50 liters of fuel.
Oh, absolutely. I did that this today.
Yes. So there is a challenge.
Okay.
So what I expected the government to do was to introduce some form of palliatives.
Okay.
Not before removing the subsidy, because Mr. President removed subsidy on his very first day.
Yes.
But as he was removing the subsidy, he should have announced some kind of palliatives.
Okay.
Because what has happened is, Nigeria is a country of 200 million people.
Yes.
Now, you were giving subsidy to everyone.
Yes.
Both those who needed it
And those who didn't.
and those who don't need it.
Yes.
If you look at the entire economy, I mean, I live in Lagos. I go to work every day. The roads are jammed with a lot of SUVs.
Yes.
I mean, people, these SUVs, some of them, I mean, they cost so much money.
They
so
do.
a lot of these people, it doesn't matter to them whether fuel is 200 naira, which is subsidized, or whether fuel is 600 naira. They're still going to drive their car. So they don't need it.
Yes.
But the
poorer people, lower income
people,
yes,
they need the subsidy. So instead of subsidizing everyone, you need to find a way of ensuring that those who can afford it pay the right price for petrol, and those who can't afford it get some kind of incentive, some kind of support.
Yeah.
Aid, and that is what I expected them to do.
Okay.
Well, 2 or 3 months have gone now, but I can see those engagements are still ongoing. But I want to believe that sooner rather than later, government is going to come up with the measures to kind of alleviate the suffering of those who can not afford the new price of fuel. But in terms of whether we needed to keep the subsidy, no, subsidy had to go because this country could no longer bear it. We could no longer afford it.
That's interesting. So, in essence, the government was actually subsidizing the rich as against subsidizing the poor, because the rich they're the ones driving the SUVs.
Government was subsidizing both the rich and the poor.
Okay.
Government was subsidizing those who didn't need the subsidy, and also subsidizing those who needed the subsidy. So, government needed to take away those who don't need the subsidy, let them pay the right price, and then channel some of these savings to the less indigent members of the society.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much. Now, the issue is there a silver lining? Is there something good that come out of this? So, what opportunities do you see or foresee for the downstream sector post subsidy removal? Are there opportunities?
Well, to start with, let's even look at the whole economy as a whole.
Yes.
As of today, government is saving between 400 to 500 billion naira every month.
Wow.
Having removed subsidy.
Wow.
That's what they are saying.
So that's money that can go to the states and federal and the local governments.
I will tell you something.
Yes.
I will tell you something. To now, at least 10 state governments that I know were unable to pay salaries.
Wow.
Why were they not able to pay salaries?
Yeah.
Nigeria sells crude oil. That's the money that comes in that the states go to Abuja at the end of every month to go and share in the name of federal allocation. Now, this crude oil proceeds was not available for sharing because the bulk of that money was being used to cater for subsidy.
You're right.
So the states were broke.
Wow.
So when the states go to Abuja at the end of every month, they go back empty-handed. When they go back empty-handed, they are not able to pay salaries.
Yes.
Now, who are these people who are being owed salaries?
The citizens.
Not just the citizens, but most of them are people who are still on the minimum wage. So they are poor, and their salaries are not being paid.
Yes.
Now, what they didn't understand was that their salaries was not being paid because their salary was being, forgive that word, their salaries was being confiscated to pay for subsidy.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people were enjoying the subsidy, like I argued, are people who truly don't need the subsidy.
Yes.
So what has happened now is that now that the subsidy has been removed, and the federal government is saving 400 to 500 billion naira every month, they now have money to share. Each of these states is getting maybe anything between 4 to 7 billion naira extra income every month. So now they can pay salaries. Now they can spend money on infrastructure. So we're going to see a lot of of infrastructural development.
We should see, or we are going to see.
No. We shall see.
Okay.
We shall see.
You are positive.
No. I'm very, very positive.
Okay.
I'm very, very positive. I'm very positive because the money is now there to come into the system.
Yes.
And what's the money? I mean, you can't spend money on infrastructure if you don't have it.
That's true.
So one good thing about subsidy removal is that we're going to see, redistribution of the money going into infrastructure, going into wealth, going into education. So I'm very, very positive.
Okay.
I mean, from an economy point of view, I'm very positive that the subsidy removal is good for the country, it's good for the economy. But coming into downstream, you see, we've not had, there's been a lot of lethargy in investing in downstream because petroleum product was not appropriately priced. It was subsidized and it was being run largely by NNPC.
That's true.
So people were really hesitant about investing in refinery, investing in a lot of infrastructure because you're not free to price your goods appropriately. I mean, just look at any other sector of the economy. If you're in manufacturing, you're making beverages. I mean, you buy your materials, you price your goods. If the customers want to pay, they pay. If they don't want to pay, they leave it. I mean, prices were determined 100% by market force.
Willing buyer, willing seller.
But not so for petroleum products.
That's true.
So now that subsidy has been removed, we now have what we call a true free market in downstream. So we're going to see a lot of investment coming to downstream. We're going to see a lot of investment. At least we're going to see investment in refinery. We're going to see investment in gas stations. I think there's a lot of money now going into gas because people are looking for alternative sources of energy.
That's true.
So good a thing. You're an oil and gas person. So you hear a lot of people now talk about gas, about
CNG, LNG, LPG.
I mean, there's so much money pouring into all that, all because of the removal of subsidy. There are challenges. I mean, we can't talk about the challenges because since subsidy was removed, we've seen demand. Nationwide, demand has dropped by anything between 30 to 35%.
Demand for PMS.
Demand for PMS, yes. In the south, demand has gone down by about 28%. In the north, we've seen drop in demand by about 50%.
Wow.
Yes, because, let me try to clarify this. Government removed subsidy, but they also deregulated. What people didn't know is that there were two levels of subsidy. There was subsidy on pricing of petroleum products. There was also subsidy on distribution, because there was what we call Petroleum Equalization Fund that ensured that the price of petroleum product was uniform across the country. So you buy petrol for 200 naira in Lagos, you buy it for 200 naira in Abuja, you buy it for 200 naira in Sokoto, because government was paying for the cost of transporting that petroleum product across the country. But now that they've removed subsidy, they've also scrapped petroleum equalization. So now transportation is now embedded in the price of petroleum products. So what you now obtain is that petrol gets more expensive as you go farther away from the source. So if you come to Lagos today, maybe you get petrol for 580 naira. If you go to Abuja, maybe you get it for 617 naira. If you go to Maiduguri, maybe you get it for 630 naira. If you go to Maiduguri, maybe it's going for 650 naira. Because the cost of transportation is now embedded into the cost price. There's no longer subsidy there. So because of that, marketers have seen a very material drop in demand, a very material drop in sales. So, of course, as businesses, everybody is scrambling for alternative sources of additional income to keep the companies going. But by and large, that's a very small price to pay for the overall benefit which we believe removal of subsidy has brought on the economy and on the nation.
So I'm happy to hear that. So for you, you see prospect both as a player in the industry and even for the overall economy, because imagine, for example, more people are coming and investing, there'll be employment.
Of course.
And even for the state governments that we said earlier on, they now have more money to spend on their developing their communities.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, sir. You kind of mentioned some alternatives available to instead of using PMS. So can you please expatiate a bit more about this, and what are your friends and your colleagues in the industry doing about that?
Okay. Let me take it from a disruption point of view. If I go back 2011, 12, 13, the bread and butter of the downstream oil and gas industry was a product called DPK, dual purpose kerosene.
Yeah.
By 2015, 2016, we saw the demand for kerosene go down and the demand for LPG going up, liquefied petroleum gas.
Okay.
So everybody started moving into LPG, liquefied petroleum gas.
Yes.
Now with the subsidy removal, as we now see the demand for petrol go down, now the investment in downstream is now moving into same liquefied petroleum gas, but most importantly, CNG, which is compressed natural gas.
Yeah.
Because people have now realized that they can actually run their cars on CNG.
Okay.
Because CNG is cheaper than petrol.
Okay.
Because petrol was subsidized before, we're paying less than the market price. So it was cheap, it was affordable. But now, at 500-600 naira per liter for petrol, it's cheaper to go into CNG. So there's a lot of money pouring into CNG.
Okay.
But what has happened is, it will take a little bit of time to build what I call the critical infrastructure to support CNG. And I will give you an example.
Okay.
If you're going from here to, let me say you're going to Abuja by road.
Yes.
From Lagos.
Yes.
You know too well that your full tank from Lagos will not get you to Abuja.
Yeah.
But when you fill your tank in Lagos,
yeah.
you have no concerns whatsoever that you will have enough fuel to go to Abuja, because you know that when you get to Ibadan, you can fill your tank.
Yeah.
If you get to Lokoja,
you fill your tank.
Fill your tank. It's not an anxiety issue for you.
That's true.
But for CNG, because the investment is just coming in, if you have a place in Lagos to fill your tank, how sure are you
when you get to Ibadan?
You get to Ibadan,
Lokoja,
you can get a place to fill your tank.
Yes.
If you get to Lokoja, you can get a place. So there has to be a lot of investment to be able to create that critical mass, even within the city.
Yes.
If you have a place in VI, for example, and you can fill your tank with CNG,
yes,
and you're going to Ikeja, you're going to Iyanikpaja,
yes,
how sure are you that if you get to Iyanikpaja and your gas is low, you can get a place to fill your tank? So there has to be a lot of investment, which will take a little bit of time, which is why I am happy that both NNPC and Mr. President are also throwing their weight behind it. And then there's also the challenge of conversion costs, or what I call switching costs. Because if you have a car that currently runs on petrol, and you want to convert it to run on CNG, it's going to cost you about anything between 250,000 to 300,000. Now again, for some people,
that's big money.
That's not an issue.
But some is big money.
For a lot of people, that's big money. So that switching cost, government needs to find a way of helping people with that switching cost, to encourage them to switch their cars to be able to run on CNG, to be able to run on LPG, so that people can begin to move into alternative energy. Now, the good thing here is that everybody says that Nigeria is an oil-producing country. What they fail to realize is that we actually have far more gas
than oil.
But because oil has been giving us cheap money, we flare the gas. We just light it up and dip and burn it. Now, the removal of subsidy is now forcing people to think. So there's a lot of investment now going into how do we collect this gas? How do we process it so that we can get LPG out of it? We can get CNG out of it. It's practically free. But a lot of investment needs to go into collecting the gas, processing the gas, transporting the gas, storing the gas. Then a lot of investment needs to go into building the infrastructure across the country to ensure that we have the critical mass to support the conversion. And then some kind of support need to go into helping the less affluent members of the society, again, the critical mass, to be able to switch their cars from PMS to CNG, as the case may be. But I believe, you see, the good thing here is that we're on the right path.
Okay.
We're on the right path.
Okay.
It's going to take a bit of time. It may be 1 year, it may be 2 years, but sooner rather than later, each and every one of us is going to look back and say, wow, I think we've made
the right decision. Okay, I'm happy to hear that. I mean, just as an aside, you don't think electric vehicles is a solution at the moment?
Well, again, going into electric vehicles, I travel to the US a lot.
Yes.
If I go back 7-8 years ago,
yes,
when I'm in the US, and I just observe my environment, I could maybe once in a while just see a Tesla car pass.
Yes.
Once in a while. But now, it's like 1 out of every 4 vehicles that pass is either a Tesla car or an electric vehicle car.
Yes.
I was in the US about a month ago. I went into a Mercedes-Benz dealership.
Yes.
And I saw beautiful EV vehicles.
Yes.
Mercedes, beautiful, well-designed, all electric. Now, the world is moving electric.
Yes.
You go to I was in Paris not too long ago. On the streets, you see cars just parked and power bikes just parked, connected to
the charging port. Yes.
Okay. We are part of the same world ecosystem.
Yes.
So at some point it will catch up with us. But again, we still grapple with electricity here.
So we should stay with gas for now.
Yes, we still grapple with electricity.
Yes.
It brings me back to this same thing.
Yes.
If I bring in a Tesla car into this country,
yes,
I charge it in Lagos,
yes,
and I drive to Ibadan.
Yes.
How am I sure that when I get to Ibadan, I can get a point to charge it and come back? So electric cars will get to this country, but for it to come, we need to begin to invest in the support infrastructure across the nation to now make people bring in the cars and run them. It's going to be cheaper, it's going to be cleaner, but I think it's still
okay. I think I will agree. Let's stay with the gas. Let's use our gas for now.
Yes.
Then in the future we'll talk about electric.
Yes.
Okay. So one more question for you, sir. So considering the upward trend of the PMS prices since the removal of subsidy, do you see a future that the price will come down, or what should we do as a country to bring the prices down?
Okay, there are some things within our control. But there are a lot of things outside our control. There are 2 critical factors that affect the price of petrol.
Yes.
Or petroleum products, I say. One is the price of crude oil.
Yeah.
The second is the exchange rate
yes,
of the naira to the dollar. 2 things have happened since government removed subsidy.
Yes.
The price of crude have gone up. We've seen crude trend up from $70 a barrel to $85, $87 a barrel.
Yeah.
We've also seen the exchange rate slide from, the official rate
460
or 450,
yes,
460
yes,
to 903 naira to the dollar as of this morning.
Wow.
So we've seen officially like 100% devaluation of the naira within the last 2-3 months. And then the price of crude have gone up. Now, these 2 factors will continue to impact the price of petroleum products. Now, the price of crude does not swing widely except something happens in the world, like Russia invading Ukraine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we see reasonable stability on the price of crude. What has been swinging widely in the last 2 months is the exchange rate.
Yeah.
So if we want to see stability in the price of petroleum products or petrol, for example, we need to first and foremost ensure that the dollar gets stable.
Okay.
If the exchange rate
naira to dollar
gets
stable, yes.
If that gets stable and we can hold that as a constant, then we can say, okay, if the price of crude comes down, then the price of petrol can come down.
Yes.
But if the price of crude does not come down, then the price of petrol can reasonably stay stable. But I will tell you this, even though this is not what we want to hear. As of today, with dollar at about 900 naira to the dollar, with flat gasoline, which is petrol, trading for about $947 per ton, as of this morning, petrol at 600 naira per liter is still priced below market.
Wow.
Yeah, petrol today should be, petrol ideally should be trending at about 700 naira per liter right now, basis where the exchange rate is.
Yeah.
So it's because that's what the regulation is all about.
Yes, I know.
That's what the regulation is all about. It's a moving target. I'm not very optimistic that prices are going to come down anytime soon, except we see a massive drop
in the exchange rate.
In the price of crude oil.
Okay.
And then we see a massive improvement in exchange rate. But again, let me not burst anybody's bubble. The Dangote refinery or local refining capacity will not change much. It will not change the price of petrol much, because again, the local refinery is going to buy the crude.
Okay.
They are going to pay for the crude. What even if they are going to pay for the crude in local currency? Yeah. The crude is still going to be priced in dollar, then converted to local currency at the prevailing exchange rate. Thankfully, exchange rate has been made, so there's no subsidy on dollars. So it's not like, okay, he's going to pay on the official exchange rate of 450. No, I mean, exchange rates have been made. So on a naira per liter basis, I don't think local refining is going to dramatically change the price of petrol. Well, maybe freight cost and coal, there's going to be a bit of salutary effect on the price, because freight will not be like it used to be.
You're not bringing product from Europe.
It's not going to be any dramatically different.
Okay, I'm not sure if that is good news. We would like to hear that, with Dangote coming up and with this refinery coming up, it's saying will drop. But thank you for giving us the forthright and honest answers. We thank you for your time. Just before we wrap it up, do you have any final remarks on the topic we've been talking about, and any final words? Well,
I know too well that the removal of fuel subsidy has been quite challenging for the nation. All I would just say is we just need to be a bit patient. It's going to be some trying period, but the good thing is each and every one of us must come to terms with the fact that we're on the right trajectory. If we are able to go through this teething challenges, these problems, this is painful, but I believe that there's silver lining at the end of the tunnel. Nigeria is going to turn around, the economy is going to turn around, and each and every one of us will be better off and richer for it.
Thank you so much. I do share in your optimism and positivity. We look forward to seeing you again. It's been a nice discussion today, and we hope to see you in future. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.